Hey folks, Nate Gilman here from MMCs. We're going to talk about sea service. Sea service is super important. It's how you grow and build your career. There's really four main types of sea service, three that really apply to civilians. The CG719S, which is the most common type of sea service, is for vessels less than 200 gross tons. So everything from that tiny rowboat to a big 200 gross ton vessel, you can use that CG719S for. Sea service letters are issued by companies. They're on company letterhead, and they need to be on company letterhead. Certificates of discharge are issued by larger ships. They're usually over 100 gross tons, and they have some different kind of caveats that come along with them we'll dive into. And then active duty and reserve. If you are active duty or reserve, we'll go over all the different types. At the very end of this video, we keep on going to be respectful of everyone's time. So the CG719S, you want to make sure that the main parts or all the dates add up. So all the dates that you put in all 12 months add up to the total number of days served on the vessel and the total number of days that have been on the Great Lakes, shoreward of the leeward line and seaward of the boundary line. You want to make sure both of those are there. Do not leave anything blank. I'm going to say that again. Do not leave anything blank in that whole section 2. Everything needs to be filled out down in that bottom part, and then just fill in every year and days that you have for each month. Gross tonnage. A lot of people don't know their vessel's gross tonnage, but you need to fill something in. So if you don't know the GRT, you need to have the length, width, and depth of that vessel in there, as well as any official numbers that you can put to it that make the Coast Guard's life a little bit better. Everyone appreciates it. And then the final thing I see all the time is people forget to sign it. It sounds silly, but don't forget to sign it. So you need to make sure that it's signed by the operator who can attest to your experience. So that's the owner of the boat, the person that's the captain of the boat, as well as you need to sign it. Make sure both signatures are on there. If you own the boat, your signature goes in both spots. And if you own the boat, there's one or two more forms that you'll need to submit with it. Super easy. We'll make a video about that. You'll be able to see it later. But definitely, that's the CG719S. Sea service letters are on company letterhead. I can't say this enough. A company sea service letter is on letterhead. If it's not on letterhead, it won't be accepted. You also want to make sure there's a date on there, and it's the date that the letter is signed. The number 3 down there you can see is some of the most important piece of this. Always want to have the vessel name that you're working on, the official number so the Coast Guard can look it up, the vessel type, what kind of propulsion it uses. So vessel type is like sailing, towing, tank ship. Propulsion is motor, gas turbine, or steam. Those are your options, right? And then gross registered tonnage. You want to put everything in gross registered tonnage if you can. That's what the Coast Guard speaks in. GT is okay if it's boat's registered in that, but make sure you can try to get GRT if you can. And the horsepower of the vessel. Those two are super, super important. And then position. Make sure the position that's in there makes sense for the Coast Guard language. So master, mate, ordinary seaman, able seaman, QMed, junior, 3AE, chief engineer, whatever it is that you served as needs to be written down there. And then the route that you served on. So oceans, near coastal, Great Lakes, inland, needs to be on there in the things that the Coast Guard actually uses. And then the beginning date that you reported and the end date that you left, and how many days you were underway during that time. You want to also make sure it's signed. Super important that it's been signed. If it's not signed, it's not worth anything. So make sure that letter is signed. Certificates of discharge are pretty easy and straightforward. They're used on large vessels. You get credit from the day you report to the day you left. So that's distance between dates +1. Super easy. You want to make sure it's signed by the master of the vessel, which they're really good at, and also make sure you sign it. Make sure you sign your own documents. Yes, that's what I got. If you haven't checked out MMCs, really, really appreciate it. If you are using MMCs, refer your friends, tell other people about it. We really appreciate it. Thanks again. If you're active duty, stay on and I'll keep on telling you guys about active duty sea time. So active duty sea time, on top of the civilian sea time that you may have accrued in other times, you also can get it for the U.S. Coast Guard, the Army, and NOAA issue transcripts of sea service. The U.S. Coast Guard also issues what's called an AOPS for time on the non-cutters that they have. And the Navy is way behind the times. They turned off their transcript of sea service to support their current personnel, so they are not getting part of the military to mariner program, the bonus time. But you can have a sea service letter on command letterhead signed by your CO that has to be your current CO every time you're on there. We'll go through each one right now. So we'll start by looking at the active duty stuff. One of the things I really want to highlight before I really jump in, don't pay Coast Guard fees. Everyone that is active duty or in the reserves can have their fees waived. If you are on active duty, you can have your fees waived. Air Force, Army, Coast Guard, Marine Corps, Navy, National Guard, NOAA Corps officers, and Space Force personnel. You get a memo put up, get it signed by your command, submit it part of your application, and you don't pay the Coast Guard fees. No one on active duty should be paying Coast Guard fees. If you're in the Coast Guard and you served on cutters, so that's any large cutters, it's all going to be on your transcript to sea service. Work through your HR, work through your yeoman. They will hook you up. And the calculation you're going to want to do is the from date, so that's the date you reported. The to date is the day you left that ship. And you'll see the total days assigned. If you like Excel, you can do the from date and the to date. Distance between dates plus 1 will give you that total days that you've been assigned to that vessel. You're going to multiply that by 0.6. You get 60% of the time that you were assigned to that boat. Doesn't matter what it's doing, you get credit for that in that role that you were doing, in the rank and the rating that you had. Same thing with the Army, right? So distance between dates from the day you reported the boat to the day you left, it's all there. You put it in. MMCs does this for you, but if you want to play with Excel, please have at it. NOAA, same thing. Distance between dates, the day you reported to the day you detach. Distance between dates plus 1 times 0.6 is how many days credit you're going to get. Again, you can add that into MMCs. We'll calculate it all for you, but it's right there. And then just make sure you put the right position in. You're good to go. AOPS is a little bit different. So if you're in the Coast Guard and you've been serving on any small boat station, doing anything on the smaller boats that aren't cutters, you're going to be issued an AOPS. You want to put in the date that you first started doing it, and you'll see your date to where it happened. The main thing that's the tricky part is you're going to add the total days that are in the bottom down there. So it's the total days that you had total hours you had underway. And what the Coast Guard is going to do is they're going to multiply that, divide that by 4. So you get credit for every 4 hours that whole hours happen, basically. And then you also are going to want to add any time that you are a certified coxswain. You're going to add each one of those together. And any time that you are an engineer on that boat that are listed in your AOPS, only things that are listed on your AOPS, you're going to add them in there. If you're using MMCs, we made it super, super easy to calculate everything for you. You can update it over time. And then if you're in the Navy, at the moment, it's a little bit more frustrating and complex. As you can see, this is not on official letterhead, so no one would get credit for this actual piece right now. It also doesn't have a good to, so you want to make sure you use a good letterhead. All your time is calculated, everything is there for you, and you put it following the same guidance as the civilian sea service letters. Again, I'm Nate from MMCs. If you guys have any questions, need any help with anything, reach out, nate@marinercredentials.com. You can use to contact us in MMCs. And thank you. Let us know if you need any help.